Hello students, welcome to today's lecture on Buddhist education. Today we would like to discuss the basic principles of Buddhist education and the aims of education. First, the basic principles. Buddhism emerged as a reaction to Vedic ritualism, which had increased to the extent that the people were profoundly troubled. Brahmins deprived the common people of their right to education, while Buddhism granted the people freedom to obtain education and practice their religion freely. Lord Buddha imparted a practicable form to life, which resulted in the emergence of a practicable religion and a practical educational system. Buddhist education came into existence in the 6th century BC, it said, as a reaction against Brahmanic reservational system of education. Buddhists began to establish educational monasteries in competition to the Vedic system of education. Initially, these Buddhist monasteries provided education only to Buddhists, but gradually they came to impart education to all classes. Buddhists imparted education in sanghas, that is, in collective groups. These were known as sanghas. Dr. Mukherjee opines that the Buddhist educational system is the method of Buddhist congregations called sanghas. In the Buddhist system, there was no opportunity for the individual to obtain education independently away from the sangha or the congregation. The basic truths or principles of Buddhism and their relevance that we are now going to discuss. In order to make the people realize the concept of soul, sorrow, rebirth and salvation, Buddha made efforts to apprise them of the cause of sorrow in human life and gave them tangible ways of riddance from suffering in the form of some basic truths known as principles of Buddhism. Now, these principles are: 1. Suffering. He said life is full of sorrow, sufferings and mental anguish. Now, the cause of suffering, he said, is avarice and worldly attachment are the causes of suffering. Third one, elimination of suffering. It's possible to end the sufferings we have. And the fourth principle is ways of elimination of suffering. There are certain ways. Suffering can be got rid of by acquiring knowledge, wisdom, mental peace and tranquility. Regarding ignorance as the root cause of all this, Lord Buddha suggested some ways and means of getting rid of these and said, I quote, "Due to lack of real knowledge, man remains subjected to the tendency of birth and he does not get redemption from the wheel of birth and rebirth." Unquote. Now, he further said, Nirvana is attainable after the purgation of sorrows. Nirvana, however, does not imply the ending of life as I myself could achieve it in my lifetime. Buddha has shown us a way of purging sorrow and it was called the way of nirvana. This way of nirvana has been popularized as the eightfold path of Buddhism. This is the path that leads to good, pure, pious and noble life. Now, following are the 8 ways we should discuss. These are known as steps of Ashtong that make the path of redemption easy and feasible for all humans. The first one is right view or right knowledge. The first and foremost aim of education is to provide man with the right knowledge. Due to the ignorance of self, we develop a false perception or knowledge of the material world. Having obtained the true knowledge, an educated man perceives the world in its real form. It is this right perception which enables a man to recognize the real nature of the world and is called sammaditthi. The second path, he says, is right intentions or right will. Mere getting of right knowledge does not end the suffering unless there is a will to lead the life in accordance with this knowledge. For this to happen, man should determine to give up hatred, indulgence in sensuous objects, and to stop involving any kind of violence. This is called the Sama Sankalp. Now, the third path, he says, is right speech. A person should have control over his speech, which should be balanced and appropriate to the occasion. He should not speak ill of others. He should not use unpleasant and false language, and should not lie. This is called Samavacha. Fourth path is right conduct. The actions of a person should be well controlled. Right actions or right conduct comprises non-violence, non-stealing, truth, and control over senses. This is called Samakamant. The fifth path is right living or right vocation. The life of a person should be such that he feeds himself and his family only by adopting right and good means of livelihood. Whatever he chooses as his vocation, he should never deviate from discharging his duties in the right manner. This he called Sammayit. Sixth path is right effort or right exercise. In spite of having attained right knowledge, we are still liable to deviate from our right path of life because of old traditions called sanskars. These sanskars are liable to cause bad thoughts and dispositions. It is therefore expected of a person that he preaches right knowledge and right will. This is called Samavayam. Seventh path is right mindedness or right memory. Even the right knowledge can fade away if not remembered or recalled from time to time. The educated person keeps recalling what he has learned with a view that he might not relapse into ignorance again. This is called Samasati. The eighth path is right meditation or right concentration. After developing the above mentioned 7 traits of personality, the person qualifies himself to enter into the state of right meditation, the first prerequisite to attain nirvana and the ultimate goal of human life, that is nirvana. This is called Sama Samadhi. In this manner, Lord Buddha evolved a path which was not difficult to traverse and through which anyone could attain nirvana. Lord Buddha regarded the established practices of Hindu religion such as Vedic mantras, worship of gods and goddesses, sacrifices, rigorous penances, etc., as useless for the purpose of nirvana or salvation. This is a great gift from Lord Buddha to the woebegone humanity. Lord Buddha's eightfold path is believed to have relevance even today. Its importance is being felt with increased and everlasting utility, even when science and technology is progressing day by day and is affecting every aspect of our human life. The path that has been shown to us by Lord Buddha ensures complete human welfare and progress, provided we adopt it sincerely and with utter devotion. Out of these 8 paths, Lord Buddha has laid ample stress on the middle path, called Madhya Marga, which entails that man should avoid both extremes, that is, a life of comforts and luxuries and a life of severe asceticism. Such an approach is sure to show the humanity the real path to progress and ensure welfare to humanity. Let us now study some important aims of Buddhist education. Buddhist educational system prepared the pupils to face different life situations successfully. It said that this educational system embarked upon all aspects of their life. Its aims were therefore very comprehensive. Now, following were the main aims of Buddhist education. 1. Development of knowledge. Lord Buddha, the promoter of Buddhism, believed that this world is the house of pain and grief, and the main cause of all this is ignorance. Therefore, he stressed on the objective of nirvana or salvation, which could be achieved if one could overcome this grief and pain. This was possible only through the knowledge and understanding of the real truth. Second aim of education is moral development. Buddhist education aims at moral and spiritual development of an individual. This was made possible in a conducive environment of monasteries. Third is character development. This character development was the main responsibility of a teacher. For this, essential rules and regulations were set. Peoples were taught to lead a life according to the eightfold code of conduct. Self-control, discipline, piety and sympathy were stressed by Buddhism. These qualities used to build character in monasteries and vihars. These were the education institutions of that time. The fourth aim is development of culture. Preservation, refinement and transmission of essentials of Buddhist philosophy and other aspects of Indian cultural heritage was another important aim of Buddhist education. The bhikshus studied Buddhist philosophy and practiced the same in their lives. They taught the same to others who came in their contact. Essential amendments were made in the culture to suit to the changing conditions. The culture thus developed and got transmitted to the coming generations. The fifth aim is education for good social conduct. Buddha's philosophy believed in the welfare of human beings in general. Stress was therefore given on sympathy and piety. Too much of stress was given on the training of conduct of the disciples. According to Buddha, virtue and wisdom purify each other, and the two are inescapable. An important virtue, according to him, is welfare of the society, and societal development is as essential as the development of an individual's personality. Sixth aim is education for vocational development. Buddhist education stressed on right living, that is, a right vocation called samāyit. The life of a person should be such that he feeds himself and his family by adopting right means of livelihood. The choice of the vocation would definitely depend on his interest, disposition and skill. The syllabus of education was therefore very comprehensive and included many practical and vocational subjects. The seventh aim is religious education. Though worldly education was given ample stress, religious education was not ignored. For it, four truths and 8 paths that have been discussed earlier were practiced by the learners. After Upasampada ceremony, that is a ceremony marking the end of education and declaring a person as a bhikshu, the disciples were declared monks and they got the right to teach and propagate Buddhism. The 8th aim is development of all-round personality. In Buddhist philosophy of education, the real education implies development of total personality, that is, development of personality in all its aspects, such as physical, intellectual, social, moral, spiritual and material aspects. It was all round harmonious and well balanced development of personality for which attention was paid by Buddhists. Now, that was the basic principles and the aims of Buddhist education which we discussed today. Thank you for listening.